So moving onwards to our next session, that is panel discussion, the crucial role of CFOs in managing business crisis and turnarounds, navigating uncertainty with agility and strategic leadership. Introducing our moderator, Mr. Achal Modi, Head of Finance International Business at OYO. Mr. Modi is a chartered accountant and CFA charter holder, brings 12 plus years of expertise in finance, business strategy, financial management, reporting, budgeting, sales accounting, cost control, credit risk management, profitability analysis, and SAP FI model. I also request the fellow panelists, Mr. Rajesh Garg, CFO, Mr. Sumendra Jain, CFO, Region APAC and MEA, SMS India Private Limited, Ms. Smita Nanda, CFO, Kamat Hotels India Limited, Mr. Debasish Roy, CFO of Middle East at Majorel, Mr. Ankit Arora, SVP at Yes Bank, Mr. Vaibhav Kalra, Director of Finance and Strategic Partnerships at Yum Restaurants International. Please join us on the dais.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, fellow speakers. Hi, everyone. So the topic of today's this panel's discussion is the crucial role of CFOs in managing business crisis turnarounds, navigating uncertainty with agility and strategic leadership. So this defines how the CFO act as a balance between risks and rewards, and act as a guardian in the times of turnaround and uncertainties. So I'll have my fellow speakers. So Sumendra, I'll have what are the primary responsibilities and challenges faced by CFO managing business crisis and turnaround?
Thank you, Achal. Good afternoon to all. It's my pleasure to be part of this wonderful panel discussions and be amongst this August gathering out here. Well, this is an interesting time to talk about this particular question because over the last couple of years or last 5 years, we have seen such huge uncertainties in the world that has resulted into a lot of crises, a lot of conflicts in the situations. And that was the time when we really thought about making a turnaround for our organization. Before I talk about the turnaround, let me give a quick perspective as to what I represent. I represent SMS Group, which is a technology leader for the metal industry. So we provide the technology for all the metal plants, which are the premium plants in the world. So then we provide the equipments and do the construction part also. So it's a very niche segment where we have a lot of situations basis. It's all tailor-made projects which we work around. So when the whole situation of COVID came in, it was a real crisis. How to manage the business outlook because the projects were stalled. We were having a big issues of managing the employee base. We have about 14,000 employees, and in India it was almost about 3,000 people, which we are trying to see that how these people can be worked out. So we were really deliberating as to how do we manage that crisis, and then how do we deliberate as to what is the way forward around that. It's a European-based organization, largely driven from the Europe centricity and providing the technology to the various parts of different parts of the world, with presence across big countries like US, China, of course, apart from Germany, Italy, and Luxembourg in Europe, India, and Russia, and all that. During this crisis time, we thought that how do we change our perception of reaching out to the customer and bring out the project-first approach and do value additions to overall our organization. So we moved away from decentralization to centralization to decentralized. So the world was divided into 6 regions, US Americas for South and North America, China for China, CIS countries under Russia, and then Middle East Africa under EMEA region of managing from Italy, and then Europe, other countries of Europe, and rest Asia Pacific and India. There we really thought that this will be the best approach to attract to customers, because reaching out from Europe to different parts through agencies or through consultants was not becoming a very viable solution around that. And hence we decided that, okay, closer to the customer, it will be the best hub. So we made India as the regional hub. and from a setup which was relatively small from the group perspective, and today this region is constituting almost about 50% of the revenues what we are generating. So this was a real big challenge for us. And especially in the COVID, we were really seeing that how we make our presence felt, and with different cultures, different countries, tax regulations and all. So as a CFO, my main role was to kind of work out as a business partner with my CEO and COO and CSOs to manage the strategies, how do we build our and felt our presence. So from a consultant or small setup in those regional entities, we decided to set up the countries. So we are now present, we are managing about 90 countries. So we are now present in about 20 odd countries. So that was the biggest task, to manage the compliances, the tax structures, the working capitals to go with the flow, recruitment of the people, finding out the right resources, because ours is an engineering-based company, so the right skillful set of people. So that was the key challenge. And then how do we really bring the beauty of managing into a matrix organization? So ours was earlier a BU-centric approach, which was managed from Europe, is now becoming a matrix organization, where the regions have been given the responsibilities of managing the P&L with growth, with sales, and the responsibilities of the P&L. And the people of Center of Competencies in Europe are now providing their resources, technology, and everything. So it's a true matrix organization where there are always conflicts around that. So when we were talking about this turnaround, we were thinking about, okay, in this crisis time, how do we do with the business? And we were setting a target. And we started in the middle of 2021, and the first year was very good. We managed to have, in spite of the COVID situations, to get a good 50% growth on what was the target. So it was a first good setting up the context. And then we really had our presence felt in these markets. Fortunately, the markets also opened. But then again came the little crisis of the Russia-Ukraine war, where there was so much of disruptions on the material. So managing the cost or the as sold was becoming a real challenge. So then we really thought about how do we manage this in the VUCA world, where so much of uncertainties are happening. First of all, availability of raw material is not very sure. The prices have shooted up like thing. The logistic cost became too different. So then we were really working on a lot of digital transformation. So that was the task which I, as a CFO, and I really call myself as not only a business partner, but a digital business partner, where the connect through to the business with the digital transformation is really helping the business quite significantly. So turnarounds, when such magnitudes of turnaround happen, it's very important that we have the right tools available with us. So we invested pretty heavily on the upgradation of SAP, which is now Pro4, and then we launched a lot of tools to manage the crisis of information sharing and all that through vendor portals, customs portals and all that stuff, and reporting structures, because now managing so many entities is not an easy task around that. So that was another thing. Then retaining the talent in that time, we really decided that, okay, I suggested to my CEO and CSOs that we have to retain this talent. Ours is an engineering company, so we can't just lose these people. So we decided, okay, we will not lose this probably, remove the people, we retain them. And fortunately, that decision helped us today, because we are into real peak of situations. And 2022 was the first full year of our turnaround, where we managed almost 4 times the growth of the targets which was set across for the region. So this turnarounds was really asking us to be having a lot of synergies, a lot of patience to manage the complexities, the diverse cultures, and that was really helpful to us to become where it is today. And we are happy that these things are really turning out. So as a business partner, as a CFO, my role was to kind of navigate the situation with strategies, the right cost imputers, and providing the right infrastructure by digital tools to support the business in this crisis situation. That's how we help the organization to sustain in this crisis.
Well, thanks, Sumendra. Thanks for running through your journey, how you navigated challenges in the geopolitical impacts which you saw, and the people-centric approach helped you navigate through these uncertainties. So over to you, Debasish. How does financial leadership contribute to maintaining business continuity and stability during times of uncertainty?
No, sure. First of all, thanks for having me here and giving me the opportunity to share my experience. Um, I have over 25 years of experience in corporate finance, and I have a rich career managing different kind of crises and uncertainties. And I will share something which is not in the books or on the internet, but something which is more practical. Like Sumendra said about VUCA, you might have heard about VUCA world. And as we are moving from VUCA to BANI, if you have heard about BANI, BANI is a term which is coined by the military departments of US. It's actually brittle, anxious, non-linear and non-comprehensible. So we are actually in a world where uncertainties, fragile, these kind of things are quite normal today's world. And as a finance leader, what I understand is that this is the time when you really need uh, not to be hiding in your shadows. Rather, it's a so time. It's a time when you have to communicate more effectively and transparently and collaborate. You have to increase the frequency of your engagement and your touch points for majority of the stakeholders from whom you work. Broadly, how I understand that uncertainties or crisis situations normally are of two categories. The category one, I can probably say that something which is predictable and a preventive approach works well. And that is when the finance leadership normally implements different kind of risk management strategies, which starts from awareness about risk to assessment, measurement, monitoring, and mitigations. So this works well where you can, this is more a preventive approach where you have relatively some kind of a degree of assurance, or probably assurance is the wrong word, probably you know that the occurrence could happen in the future. So a proper risk management framework works well. Besides that, something which is not predictable, this is where the CFO's role or the finance leader's role is more important. How? Because this is where the cash becomes the king. And when you talk about cash, you talk about finance department first, who has the full visibility. And that is when you actually do different kind of scenario analysis to understand that what is your runway right now. We all have seen COVID. It was not great, but we know what we have done during that period. We were trying to understand that how much cash we have, that if our clients are not paying on time, because probably my client is a hospitality client, everything has stopped, they are unable to pay me, but I have to pay my employees. So the important thing here is to understand the cash flow situations, and these things you can do by different scenario analysis. The objective here is obviously to decrease the impact of these kind of uncertainties which hits. So broadly what I can say that, I will come back to the original thing about how finance leaders, like finance is a very critical function, and they have the numbers, they understand the business, and they are the right advisors, not only to the business, but also the CEO and the top leadership. And that is when they come with facts, with figures. So this is very important, and I think I have been privy to managing such kind of uncertain situations. The key message here is that communicating is the key, and not sighing out for seeking help, because these kind of situations, it is important not only to communicate, but shout out for help, whether it is within your stakeholder systems. And people will proactively then come and understand the situations. So this only happens when you are engaging, or you are increasing the frequency of your engagement. And besides that, I think the overall objective here is that if we can have some kind of control about the future in terms of by when this will end. That a finance guy can at least give a kind of a more measured view to the non-finance guy, which can gives them some kind of visibility, and that probably mellows down the overall pressure. So finance is a very critical role, needs to play a very critical role, and we have all seen that. I'm sure you all would have your own share of stories where you have done, and we all started working from home, started doing our business through work from home model, and it worked well, and this was only possible because at the back the finance team was also doing their job as expected. So that's broadly what I can think of. If you have any cross questions, please feel free to ask me.
So, thanks, Debasish. Thanks for your valuable insights. Cash is the king, and yeah, proactive communication definitely helps in times of uncertainty. Over to you, Smita. Can you share examples of successful crisis management strategies implemented by CFOs in your organization or industry?
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon and namaskar. Just a little 2 words about myself. I'm Smita Nanda, CFO Kamat Hotels India Limited from Mumbai. You must have heard about the Dr. Vittal Kamat, who is having a legacy of 70 years in food and hospitality. Just now, Debasish mentioned over here about the hospitality suffered a lot. Yes, I do agree, and I was the witnessing for the same. Coming back to the COVID or before COVID, actually COVID was not the part of our crisis in our organization. I'm giving you a live example about my organization. 2008-9, my group has taken a over ambitiously. They have gone and they built a 400 rooms hotel in Pune, which is Orchid Pune. Must be so many people must have known over here. If it is not, it is now a wonderful property. 400 rooms with a 50,000 banquets and everything. But unfortunately, मर्सिडीज के गाड़ी पे है ना, मर्सिडीज का ड्राइवर लगता है, उधर मारुति 800 का ड्राइवर चलता नहीं है. So unfortunately my promoters could not able to, or I don't know, because I joined this organization 2016. That time group was completely in the verge of NCLT, and my challenge was to how to survive in that. This is not because of me. हमारे पास तो डिग्री है, एक्सपीरियंस है, सब कुछ है, हम दूसरे कंपनी में जाके जॉब भी कर सकते हैं, पर वो कंपनी, वो एम्प्लॉइज़ है जहाँ पर 4000 पब्लिक जो हाउस कीपिंग में काम करते हैं या बार में काम करते हैं या हमारे रेस्टोरेंट्स में काम करते हैं, उनको हम कैसे बचाएं, उनके जॉब से हम कैसे उनकी जॉब सेव कर सकते हैं. सो देन एंड similar way, the bankers have taken into the ARCs, and ARC has taken us to the NCLT. We were knocking the door of the NCLT कि भाई इधर से कैसे निकले. The huge debt amount was lying on our head like a 2000+ crores. Just now Debasish has mentioned about here कि yes, fruitful dialogues and honesty is the biggest key role in my this whole you can say a case study. We have started dialoguing. Company has appointed me as a CFO. They told me very clearly in my interview time only कि मैडम ये हम सरफेसी में बैठे हैं, DRT में बैठे हैं, आप कैसे कंपनी को इसको ऊपर लेंगे. मैं बोली सर पता नहीं कैसे लूँगी, पता नहीं मुझे मैं क्या करूँगी और कैसे करूँगी. They said, okay ma'am, we are with you, just we'll try to do this thing. And suddenly COVID 2019, COVID started, 2019 December. मुझे आके जुमा 2 साल ही हुआ था. अभी तक तो मैं आई थी रियल इस्टेट के बैकग्राउंड से, मुझे हॉस्पिटलिटी का एच नहीं आ रहा था. अब क्या करें, कैसे करें. और NCLT में तो सब लोगों ने एडमिट कर दिए थे, अब ये एडमिट करें तो निकाले कैसे बाहर. एवरीथिंग वॉज इट्स लाइक अ nightmare for me. But I was having a 30 years का experience in this finance field after having my degrees. I have requested my EY friends. EY is my, I must thank you from this forum to whole EY India team for supporting me. They kept a faith in our organization and they helped me out for this. First of all, they told that don't hide yourself, start dialoguing with the lenders. So we have started dialoguing with the lenders. Lenders कुछ समझने में तैयार नहीं थे, बोल रहे थे no, we want our money as per the schedule. Hospitality COVID आ गया था, hospitality was completely vanished from the business only, I can say. हम लोगों के सारे सीनियर मैनेजर से ऊपर के जो भी थे वो 2 दिन आते थे, 3 दिन नहीं आते थे, because our ground people, ground workforce should have to get remunerated, we should have to remunerate them. So how to go ahead with this? So then we have decided that all the senior managers from and above post will take it only 2 days का salary in a week, and we will give them a full month का salary, because hospitality तो work from home चलता नहीं है ना सर, उसके लिए तो आप हाउसकीपिंग को या F&B को नहीं बोल सकते वर्क फ्रॉम होम करो, उनके लिए आना है. और ऊपर से गवर्नमेंट ने कंपलसरी कर दिया था कि यू हैव टू टेक अ कोविड पीपल्स ऑल्सो इन दिस. सो हाउ टू सर्वाइव? दिस वाज द मेजर क्वेश्चन. प्लस आर कैश फ्लो वॉज सफोकेटिंग. NCLT एक के ऊपर एक हमें मीन्स आर ARCs, एसेट रिकंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनीज have sending, we were having a 13 asset reconstruction companies on our dead book, and they were telling us कि मैडम 700 करोड़ रुपया अभी पे करो, नहीं तो हम हमारी प्रॉपर्टीज़ निकालते हैं. हमारे 2 मेजर प्रॉपर्टीज़ है बॉम्बे में. यू मस्ट हैव अवेयर अबाउट दैट. ऑर्किड मुंबई एंड नाउ ईराबाई ऑर्किड. One is a domestic airport and another one is a international airport. Total keys are 700 and total cost is coming, valuation is coming near about 1,500 plus. So people, they wanted to sell off these properties on distress way, and people were aware about that के हाँ है हो जाएगा 500-700 करोड़ तो आराम से निकलने हैं, because Orchid Mumbai is a 372 rooms and Irabai Orchid is a 200 plus room, and both are a 5-star categories. So we have really requested them, means पैर पड़ना ही उनका बाकी था, बाकी we have requested them give us a one chance, and I have started doing a very aggressive plan, that is a OTS, one time settlement with them. They said मैडम नॉर्मल देते नहीं है, वन टाइम सेटलमेंट में कैसे पैसे दोगे? मैं बोली सर प्लीज़ लीव अस, गिव सम टाइम एंड कीप ट्रस्ट ऑन अस. पहले जिन्होंने जो किया पता नहीं, आप सिर्फ मुझे थोड़ा सा समय दीजिए. Yes, we have started this OTS system from March 2021 till September 2021. And that period, it was, COVID was in deep, and we were about to shut down the hotels. अब करें तो क्या करें? Total 15, उस वक्त total हमारे 15 hotels थे जो हमारे questionable थे कि अभी क्या करें, इसको survive ही कैसे करें. Then we have decided, okay, we will go one by one ARCs and we will again talk to them, because सितंबर तक तो सर 1 रुपया भी मैंने जमा नहीं किया था, क्योंकि हमारे पास ही पैसे नहीं थे, तो क्या करें. Again we have told them, sir, please give us some extension. So some have agreed and some have said no. Those who have agreed, fortunately, they were having a big dead book in our books. So that was, they said, okay madam, अभी हम दिसंबर तक कर सकते हैं, उसके ऊपर कुछ नहीं, otherwise we will send you the liquidation का notice or we will submit your case into the NCLT. We said okay, दिसंबर तक तो आप मुझे दे दीजिए. In the meantime, I requested my EY friends and we told them that, sir, we need something way out from this, how to go ahead and what to do. We found an overseas investor who funded us in this. It was really with the help of Dr. Kamat, whose personal friend is his. And we then told them that के सर हम लोग आपको दे देते. बोले नहीं, everybody wants their piece of cake. So they said कि मैं अभी आपको क्राइसिस में हेल्प कर रहा हूँ, मुझे तो कुछ मिलना चाहिए. मैंने बोली सर आपको क्या चाहिए आप बता दीजिए. सर ईराबाई होटल है, इसकी मार्केट वैल्यू 175 करोड़ है, अगर मैं आपको इसको देता हूँ तो वो मुझे 125 करोड़ में बेच दो. मैंने बोला नॉट पॉसिबल सर. देन वी फाउंड अ लेंडर. लेंडर सेड कि मैं तुम्हें 300 करोड़ देने को रेडी हूँ, 300 करोड़ में सारे OTS ख़त्म करो. 1800 करोड़ का एटीएस 300 करोड़ में कैसे ख़त्म करूं? They said, no, we don't know anything. If you want to survive, this is the only option. We went to, again back to the ARCs. We told them that, sir, please do help us. We wanted to pay you that. They said, okay, fine. In the meantime, we are doing all these things, but within 6 months' time, you have to pay us back 125 CR. अब ये भी मुश्किल था, वो भी मुश्किल है, कैसे करें? We have taken an aggression plan and we told them that, yes, we are going to do these things. We did the OTS, we got a 300 crore. Of course, 2000 crore was including penal interest, interest and principal. So they said that, okay, principal में क्या मिल रहा है? मैं बोली सर, अभी आगे के 3 साल तो हॉस्पिटलिटी चलना नहीं है, तो आप क्या करेंगे? आप ये बिल्डिंग लेके भी क्या करेंगे? Then they said, okay, madam, you do one thing. You pay us everything before 31st of January. They were thinking like that कि ये नहीं होगा, ये नहीं कर पाएंगे और मैं फिर इसको liquidation में कर देंगे. EY team helped us, my Mauritian investor helped us, and we cracked this 300 crore ka. We paid them one stroke payment on OTS basis, and we took out the whole company from this. They were thinking about this was the impossible job. I just made it I am possible, and we did this. Now, apart from that, thank you so much.
Thanks, Smita. The journey was very much inspiring. All of us learned a lot through the examples you shared. This
Thank
was
you so
very
much.
encouraging. Yeah. So over to you, Ankit. What role does financial forecasting, risk assessment, and scenario planning play in CFO's decision making during crisis?
Yeah. Thank you, Achal, and good afternoon, everyone. It's been a long day for all of you, and I believe that now it's coming to an end, so you all will be very happy and relaxed. So being, everybody has shared their so much vast knowledge and experience, and it's been really overwhelming. I myself, I'm not a CFO. I am part of the multinational corporate banking business with Yes Bank, and having such kind of a profile also gives me an opportunity to deal with the finance function of each and every organization, and also meet CFOs, learn from them, and enable and assist and help them to take some fruitful decisions for their company. And I'm grateful that in this process, I am also able to enhance my knowledge and experience. The word crisis, as the question was thrown to me, the word crisis, once John F. Kennedy said that if written in Chinese, it is broken in 2 characters. The first character represents danger and the second character represents opportunity. So it's up to the enlightened mind that what kind of crisis and what out of the crisis he or she takes it out. And obviously, having said that, if once a person who is into a crisis, be it an organization or an individual, the decision is not between the good or the bad. It's about saving yourself from the worst. So risk management is very, very critical. It becomes very crucial at the time when any business is faced with such a situation. At the time when obviously we have spoken about coronavirus, we have spoken about so many situations where an organization was put to an halt. The business, the economic decisions, everything was actually dependent on how the leaders steer those kind of or navigate their businesses through that environment, because it was one of its own kind of a black swan events, and nobody was sure how to prepare for it. Fortunately, now those situations are over. We have learned from those environment. We have gone far and understood that what sort of scenarios could have been developed. But when the organization was in that environment, what was going on in the mind of a CFO, or what was going on in the mind of any finance leader at that time, was very, very crucial to understand that how much loss could have been saved. The government was supportive, and obviously there was no option because all the economic activities were put on halt. However, for the organization, it was very, very predominant that, to save cost was one, to conserve cash was two, to also understand that, in that situation also, if there is any scope of making some profits, because the share prices were also going down. So obviously there was a lot of pressure from the key shareholders. Unfortunately or fortunately for many of them, once that phase was over, they had a sigh of relief that yes, now these things are over. But how did they navigate it? The data was very, very critical. The coordination of data was super critical at that point of time. The comprehension of those data was up to the leaders, that how they would have, understood that what are the gaps which needs to be plugged, and obviously at the right time. So what I observed during those times, that many of the organizations, obviously the work from home and all those channels were accepted, and those channels were actually motivated for the people to work because of such phase. But most importantly, the way the transparency of the business was actually at the most highest level at that time. That all the businesses which were banking with us, which I was taking care of, they were also, throwing away data to us in a manner that if they want to seek certain loan advances or certain more assistance in their banking framework. So those kind of things which we actually noticed at that time was very, very helpful for us to understand the business at a very deeper level. There are various stances where I have, dealt with the finance leaders, where there are certain people who have gone to an extent where they also know that how the product is being sold in the market, and there are certain leaders who knows that how their capacity plays a crucial role, or their how the machine navigates and how the industry worker actually works. So that is a kind of a depth which now a CFO or a finance leader plays an important role in an organization. The times have gone that we used to see a CFO as only as an accountant. Today we attach a strategic CFO kind of a designation to them, and that is what I think is very, very critical and very, very crucial, because it's not only the IQ which plays an important role, it's also the EQ which is now being plugged into the system. And I think that it's a very India is at a cusp of so much of growth prospects, and the GDP numbers are also reflecting a very positive figures. So this will enable all the industry leaders to actually capitalize on such growing trends. And with the kind of scenario analysis and the financial analysis and the data which are being populated internally in the system, technology being a key driver of them, I believe that the time of crisis, which now the next crisis, whenever it happens, we will be much more better equipped with a lot of understanding, with a lot of data mining, data crunching, which has already happened in within the organizations, and the kind of technology and enhancement which has happened. So I believe that we will be much more equipped to handle such sort of crisis. Having said that, I would like to also express my regards to the team of Skill Game, that they have given such a wonderful platform to all of us to elaborate on such a crucial topic of the finance segment. And I would also now rest my topic here. So Achal, over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ankit. Your definition of Chinese definition of crisis is worth remembering, and rightly said, CFOs need to balance both IQ and EQ. Totally agree with that. So what do you, Vaibhav? How do CFOs balance short-term financial priorities with long-term strategic objectives during a crisis or a turnaround?
Sure. Hi, Achal. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, and thank you for having me here. So it's a very classic dilemma for every CFO and every finance leader. How to manage short-term priorities versus long-term strategic objectives. Now, to explain this, I think it's very important to understand the role of a CFO. Just at the cost of being repetitive, because we would have many of the speakers have already spelled that out. The role of a CFO is of a business catalyst. He has a bold vision and also a very clear goal. Now these goals can be broken down into a number of steps. So I think gone are the days when we used to have a silver bullet, we fire the bullet and we reach to the goal, right? So now we have to take a set of sequential steps that lead us to that goal. Now those steps can be short term or can be long term. Now how do we determine that, which is short term and which is long term? A CFO for the short term necessarily seeks certainty in what is being done, right? And accordingly the set of actions are determined accordingly. In the long term, the CFO instead seeks flexibility, right? So they want to have options. Because there's an element of uncertainty that comes with time. When you're talking of a time horizon of 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, so the CFO needs that flexibility, and that is how the actions, get divided between short term and long term. I'll try to explain this further with an example, and perhaps I'll share one of our examples as well here. So improving the business model is a very key priority for all of us sitting over here. Now the business model can be improved by different levers, and those levers can be very different in the short term and long term. So I'll give you an example. So when we started to pursue this goal and working on the business model and chasing it vigorously, in the short term, we took out the role of improving efficiencies. So we worked on cost, we worked on product, we used tools like P&L benchmarking, menu rationalization, etc. Come from restaurant industry, so those are the things that normally we look at while we work on efficiencies. But as a finance leader, I know that just efficiencies won't lead me to the goal, right? My goal could be to be like the best in class in the QSR sector, for example, right? So in the long term, I need to think more strategically. I need to add revenue layers to what I'm doing today. I need to add asset classes to how I'm functioning today. And a set of those initiatives together will perhaps help me lead to the goal. So as we see, I had a goal, and then a set of initiatives were broken down between short term and long term, right from efficiency to revenue streams to asset class. So in a nutshell, I know I'm running short of time. I think both are equally important for a CFO, the short term as well as long term. And to balance it out, one very important thing is how the resources are allocated towards both. Any predominant focus either on short term or on long term will have obviously a negative impact on the other side. So that is a balancing act that fortunately or unfortunately a CFO has to do. Thank you. This is what I had to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Vaibhav. Totally agree. Resource allocation during times of balancing between short-term and long-term goals is the key. Yeah. Over to you, Rajesh. In what ways can CFO leverage technology, data analytics to enhance crisis management and decision-making capabilities?
Okay. No, thanks, Achal. And thank you everyone for contributing so many great points. So just a very quick introduction. I'm Rajesh Garg. So I've been CFO with Stryker and Carl and worked with lots of other medtech companies. My most of the career has been around medtech and healthcare companies. And I also had a previous role leading as a CFO for Canada and Latam. And yeah. So coming to the question, so I feel, first of all, finance, as we all know, finance now has become more of enabler than just handling the accounting piece. And I think this enablement doesn't come just by running some Excel sheets, because overall business complexity has gone so wide that you can't run your business successfully and productively without the intervention of technology. And I think that's what I think, at least in my journey, I've been seeing most of the time that finance folks are being asked to bring value on the table. And one of the key aspect of bringing value can be generated through technology. So maybe would like to contribute couple of examples, like there used to be time when in your FP&A teams, you used to be dependent upon couple of experts who used to make excellent PPTs or your data analytics and so on and so forth. But I think now that whole shift has been taken by either your RPOs or predictive analysis or use of AI, and that's very much effective practically. And probably I've been through with multiple implementations and solutions, and they does bring your costs down. You become more of a business partner rather than just struggling around your reconciliation and Excel sheets. And I think that's where you create a better trust with your business teams. If you're able to just on a click of a button, you're able to know by your franchisee, by your geography, by your dealers, by your product types, and so on and so forth. If you have your problem statement rightly stated, and the kind of technology which is available, may be it ClickView or BI or so many solutions available nowadays. So I think that's what is something what we need to see, what is the right solution looking at the problem statement of your organization. And second, I think what matter is your team, because sometimes what happens, we try to adapt lots of the most advanced system of the world, but we really we don't invest on the people, because ultimately at the end of the day, people are the one who are going to implement that technology and bring that outcome from the technology. So you need to create that excellent interface between your people, between your process, and that's how your innovation is going to work. So I think and just stick to basics. I really don't need to do some rocket science around it. It's more around basics, implement right systems. So many systems are available. If you have right ERP, say SAP or JD Edward or whatever it is, they all have decent capabilities. Then interface them with your CRM, with your Salesforce.com, with your, all these so many systems what are available. So yeah, I think that's what brings productivity. That's what helps you becoming more enabler. That's what creates better trust with business people. And that's what kind of gives you time to partner for go-to-market strategy and for really on the strategic piece. Because I've seen 80% of the time we are struggling with managing with auditors or reconciliations and number of other, data crunches. But I think the moment you are able to implement right technology, that's how probably your real role starts. Yeah.
Yeah, agree, Rajesh. Implementing right systems and effectively using them will give us time for better business partnering. Yeah, so we wrap this session. Thanks everyone. We had a wonderful session, heard industry leaders talk about their industries, how they navigated through crisis times and did a turnaround for the company. How they effectively became a better business partner by focusing on technology and data-driven approach.
Thanks a lot to all the panel members for sharing your thoughts and insights. If we have any queries, I request everyone to please take it in the networking break. To do the honors, I request Mr. Achal Modi to please come forward and felicitate the fellow panelists. Starting with Mr. Rajesh Garg, CFO. Can we have a huge round of applause for all of the panelists and moderator? Mr. Sumendra Jain, CFO Region, APAC and MEA, SMS India Private Limited. Ms. Smita Nanda, CFO, Kamat Hotels India Limited. Mr. Debasish Roy, CFO, Middle East at Majorel. Mr. Ankit Arora, Senior Vice President at Yes Bank. And Mr. Vaibhav Kalra, Director of Finance and Strategic Partnerships, Yum Restaurants International. Requesting everyone to please take the center stage for a group photograph.